Hey everybody, it's Mike here at InkSoft, and today we're going to talk to you about QR codes. We've talked about these before as a tool for managing some of your stores and heading up some of your marketing campaigns, but today we're going to talk about how you can use those codes in your shop. So when we talk about QR codes for your print shop, we're talking about using QR codes as a management strategy in the shop. And what that boils down to is helping you get around some of those recurring issues that might be going on, whether that's things like your standard operating procedures not really being adhered to, or maybe some of your new hires aren't learning things as fast as you want them to. So you can use these codes to help implement some better training systems and some better communication around the workplace. So those QR codes can link to a video, and that video can be anything from training on a specific machine or technique, or more broader stuff like your shop policies or your company policies that you need people to stay up to speed on. The best part about a QR code is that it's not very big and it's easy to print out. So you can basically print it and hang it up anywhere you need to in the shop. So that could really be anywhere. That could be outside your screen room, next to the embroidery machine, maybe next to the conveyor dryer, next to the flash cure, or above an auto press if you're using QR codes for machine training and decoration technique training. You can also use those codes in other areas of the shop, like say the front office, maybe your break room, near the time clock, if you need to provide more, broader SOP information. Now, one note, these QR codes aren't meant to replace verbal communication in your workplace. You're still going to have to go through the nitty-gritty of training people, learning how to communicate verbally. But the whole idea is to use these as a tool to make things a little simpler and a little more streamlined. Now, on top of these codes being pretty small and pretty simple to hang up wherever you need to in your business, the best part about it is there's no real overhead involved in creating them. There are quite a few different sites you can use to generate a QR code, which you'll see in the blog. Adobe has a pretty useful QR code generator. There's also QR-code-generator.com, which is one of the more popular ones. But really, with just a few minutes of simple searches, you're going to find some useful tools for creating QR codes. And most of the time, it's not going to cost you any money. Now, just a note, if you're going to use that QR code to link to something that might change over time, make sure you use a dynamic QR code. Dynamic QR codes give you the ability to change the content of what you're linking to. So in other words, if you've got, say, company policies that change over time because your business is growing, maybe your customer policies are changing over time, you can change whatever is on that web page that you're linking to without it affecting the QR code functionality. So maybe you're curious if something like this would actually help your shop, especially if things are already running pretty well. Let's look at a few different ways that QR codes can help as part of your training kit and your overall mechanisms for running your business. So first, like we talked about earlier, with your training process, you can use QR codes to create really simple videos that are linked to around the shop. That way, even if you're doing person-to-person training, they can fire up that code and they can find out what they need to do without running across the shop floor, wasting their time, wasting your time, wasting another coworker's time. Plus, you can use them on other things like software. Put them next to a computer. So if someone needs to familiarize themselves with screen printing software or embroidery software, they've got a resource to turn to without having to stop and move around. So I keep mentioning an employee having to stop and walk across the floor or someone else having to be stopped and take up their time. That's because if you start adding all that up, that's a lot of time wasted over the course of a week. Now, depending on how many people you work with and how many people work at your shop, take those couple of minutes that everybody loses every day, combine them, add that up over the course of a week, add that up over a month, over a year, you kind of see where I'm going. You're losing time over the course of a year because of all these little steps that people are taking that they could have saved by simply looking up a video really quickly and speeding up their training a little bit. So another spot where QR codes can really help out in your shop is error reduction. They come from all different directions in the shop, but mostly it's tied back to one big problem, miscommunication. Having another resource to reduce that confusion between your different departments and your teammates, that can help reduce the volume of monthly reprints that you have to get locked into. And that'll also just generally help maintain your reputation with customers because obviously the less you're spending time redoing orders and making good on something you messed up, the more time you have to impress people. So outside of saving you time and money, Using those QR codes can help foster a better company culture. Because obviously it's going to be great if you can churn out more orders, you can get more customers, and things are working faster. But if people are working alongside each other smoother, it's going to be a better environment. And improving that shop culture revolves around what's known as reducing tribal knowledge. And if you were print hustlers this past year, you might have heard Lucas Holland from FastCap talk about this. What it means is information that gets siloed when different departments don't talk to each other and then the communication dissolves. And that doesn't just happen in print shops, that happens in all different types of workplaces. So any way you can reduce that is obviously going to foster a more positive environment, more productive environment, and everybody's just going to be happier to be there. If you've got a simple tool like QR codes to help improve shop culture and make things run better, it's going to benefit everyone.